Project evaluation. Let's go back to our original design when we have our three elements: design, monitoring, and evaluation. And we know that in each one of these phases we created a lot of work and activities. And now in the evaluation phase we need to look at what happened. Did the design and did the monitoring actually produce the results that were intended? Let's go back to our definition that evaluation measures how well the project activities have met expected objectives at the extent to which changes in outcomes can be attributed to the program or intervention. They need data collection at the start of a project. That is, we need to have a baseline that will be used to collect at the beginning and also at the end. They need a control or comparison group in order to measure whether the changes in outcomes can be attributed to the program, and a well-planned study design that includes methodologies for evaluation. The idea of attribution can be seen in this simple chart. At the beginning of the project, we do our baseline study. We collect some information from our indicators on two groups. One group that will work with the project and another group that will not work with the project. And as we make progress over time, at the end we take another snapshot and we see where these two groups are located. The difference between these two is what we can attribute the change to the project. The group without a project might have many causes by which it made improvements, but it was not caused by the project. The group that worked with the project had an additional increase, and that is what we can attribute to the project. Why we need evaluations? There are many reasons, and here are some of the important ones. Is that we learn from your experience. It is important that as we start making work in projects, we learn. You have to learn from that experience. We also use it to validate project progress. It's not just my opinion or a report from the project manager, but somebody from outside who looks at the project and validates the progress. Helps us identify strengths and weaknesses. Every project is an opportunity for learning, and in that process, we'll be able to identify the things that were good, that can be replicated in future projects, or weaknesses, areas that need to be changed and improved. It's also the basis for future planning. A lot of information from evaluation will give us a lot of insights that can go into the design phases and monitoring phases of future projects. Also, it's a way to demonstrate the effective use of the resources, the money from the donor, to let them know that the project was used to achieve this goal. And explain to donors and others, beneficiaries and other key stakeholders, what was achieved and how successful it is. Why we need it? Basically, also an evaluation can identify ways to improve the quality of the project and structure it more effectively and make it more responsive to the needs of the users. Let's look now at some types of evaluations. Internal evaluation, external evaluations, and then formative evaluations and summative evaluations. Let's go with the first one. What is an internal evaluation? It's usually led by the project team or a team or unit within the organization. It is usually limited in scope and the focus is on activities and outputs. If we have a project that has a timeline in which we're going to have our midterm evaluation or the end evaluation, we might have some intermediate internal evaluations in between, which are quick snapshots that help us kind of stop, raise our heads, and try to see where we are and what is happening and what little changes can we make. This can help the project because if the project is moving one way, then we can change it back, change it, move. So by the time we hit the midterm evaluation, our numbers are not going to be that far off. If we don't do it, then we might be continuing on a path that might be far away from what we want, so the distance from the final evaluation might be bigger, and it will be a surprise to everybody because we saw that change. By making these little internal evaluations, the team can have opportunities to make those little corrections that will help the project and make the evaluation even easier. Advantages of internal evaluation. Well, the team has a better knowledge of the project and the organization. They're already familiar with the team and the stakeholders, and it's less costly. That is why it could be important to have it at that intermediate levels. Some of these advantages is that may be less objective. Obviously, people have an interest in the project because they work in the organization. The person assigned to that may have other activities and not given complete attention to do that work. Or the groups or the people may not be adequately trained as a full evaluator. But still, the advantages allow you to have enough information that the project manager and the project team can make those subtle little changes until we get a full evaluation. The external evaluation is usually required by the donor. We need the help of an external consultant, somebody with the expertise, and especially in a specific area the project is working. They happen at midterm and at the end of the project, and it's an exhaustive evaluation, looking everything, all the data from the beginning to the end. The advantages of the external, it's more objective of the process. It will offer new perspectives because we bring in an expert and he can give us more ideas. The person, because it's another contract, might dedicate more time and attention and have greater expertise. Somebody who has done this many times and will be able to give us a lot of that experience in the evaluation reports. Some of the disadvantages, yes, it's costly. They require more time for the contract, monitoring, negotiations, all the administrative process to get the consultant. The consultant might be unfamiliar with the team and unfamiliar with the organization policies and certain constraints, but with time that person can catch up and get more information about both areas. Finally, let's look at the last two types of evaluation, what we call formative evaluation. It's a method of judging the worth of a project while the project activities are forming, so that means in progress. This could be the case of the midterm evaluation or the internal evaluations that we do on a regular basis. This will focus more on the process, and the process means the activities and our outputs. That will be the key, looking at if you are doing them on time, on the right quality. Formative because they start forming, they're in the progress of the project and help us make those little changes. The summative evaluation is a method of judging the worth of a program at the end of the program activities, summation. The focus is on the common. And usually it happens at the end of the project. So it kind of think that it summarizes all the work that's been done in one evaluation.